Hi. Today I'm going to talk about Mario, a 2018 movie directed by Marcel Geisler and stars Max Hubacher and Aaron Alteras. I probably butchered their names, sorry about that. I thought about it and I'm basically making this for other people like me who look up and crave these kinds of movies. So I'm going to have a rating system right off the bat, so you'll know immediately if this follows the tropes we're really tired of seeing. So green means happy ending, yellow means no happy ending or they don't end up together, but at least they're both still alive. Red means one or both of them die or there's just no happy ending. It's a little sad that I have to do this for these kinds of movies, basically spoiling them. But if you're like me, then you know how promising a trailer for a movie can look, only to just be disappointed or sad, and then you look up reviews or trailers for the movie later, and you see the dislikes and the comments, and you see that you're not alone in your frustration. To use popular movies of the genre as examples, something like Love, Simon would be green, Call Me By Your Name would be yellow, and Brokeback Mountain would be red. If I just spoiled those movies for you, then I'm sorry. But really, if you found this video, it's a safe assumption that you've seen those movies. So, right off the bat, I want to say yellow. There. Now we can talk about Mario. Okay, I know I just said yellow, but hear me out. The way I felt at the end of this one aside, I will still recommend it. So, the story. To quote the IMDb synopsis, two young football players get caught up between the politics of the game and the politics of love. To aggressively oversimplify the complexities of this movie, it's a story about choosing love or choosing your career. Personally, I think it's a theme that can resonate with everyone that's had a choice like that at some point in their life, or if you haven't, you should give it a few years. Mario, our titular character, is part of a football team. Pretty early on in the movie, Leon joins the team right before a big promotion league event is going to take place. It's an opportunity for players basically to be drafted into the real deal. Leon is an up-and-coming striker. Soon after, we learn that Mario is also a striker, so initially they're kind of pegged as rivals for each other. But a good bit of the first act is dedicated to learning who Mario is. We meet his family, and especially his father, who's the one who's been championing, his football career. Pretty quickly though, Leon befriends Mario, and even though he's a hotshot player who's treated like a bit of an outsider, and also, disclaimer, I have to say that this movie is not English, so subtitles and dubs, I guess, if you can find them. Well, we see that he's actually a pretty humble, pretty chill dude. So, after some matches, we see that they're both actually really good, and they have good synergy on the field. Mario's manager and the club that he's playing for also take note, and they tell Mario and his dad that they want to set up an apartment for both Mario and Leon to live in so they can get better acquainted, because the plan is to basically promote them as a set. Mario accepts, and soon they move in together. And that's the premise for this movie. Alright, now let's talk. Or, I guess, allow me to monologue, and you can leave your thoughts in the comments. I really like the pacing because you don't really feel the near 2-hour runtime. The acting here is fantastic, the main cast is great, and the friendship turned romance between the two leads is incredibly believable. There are times where I related to the characters because they portrayed a relationship that felt honest and real. There's a little scene that I really appreciate because the contrast is really good when it happens later in the film. It's basically a scene where Mario has a nightmare. I also think it's really well shot. I really love some of the cinematography here. This shot I really love because of when it happens in the movie. Like the symbolisms are actually really great from a storytelling perspective. And I also really love the framing in this shot right here. Like, I can just keep looking at it for hours, the way the characters are framed, some of the shadows, it's great. I think you could write an entire thesis on both of these shots. Okay, before I get into the issues I have with this movie, I want to point out that this was actually a very interesting watch. And that the subject matter here is probably going on in a bunch of sports. So a part of me is just happy that this movie, exists. The representation of same-sex, well, anything, is still a really big issue. In fact, it's really disheartening when basically most of the characters in the movie either accept or don't care when they find out, only to have some of the people in charge tell them to their face that they'll support them, but if this gets out, basically it'll destroy their career. It's really messed up. So, issues. Unfortunately, a big chunk of the issues I have here are common for every movie I'll deem yellow. But here, man, the entire last act is just depressing. Though I can appreciate going for a more realistic story, because again, stuff like this actually happens. The entire last act is following Mario, dealing with the choices that he's made, and the director manages to capture how uncomfortable the entire situation is for everyone involved. So I guess props where props are due. The thing is, after we get the resolutions and some form of closure for some of the characters, the movie just ends. So, in conclusion, I kid you not, I had to rewatch parts of it to remind myself that there is actually a really good film in here in a lot of different aspects. Despite how frustrated and annoyed the ending made me feel, thanks. I hate it. No regrets though. Out of 10, would recommend.